some news broke last night while we were on Daily Wire Backstage, which is that the Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, is now the second cabinet secretary in history to be impeached. The House of Representatives did it. I called this, you might remember, I hate to say I told you so, I called this a couple of weeks ago when the Republicans failed at first to impeach Mayorkas. They failed because they have a razor-thin majority, because they kicked out George Santos, who was a weirdo congressman, and they kicked him out to seem like they were the big principled people, and all that really did was give away the game to the Democrats. Razor-thin majority. Republican Steve Scalise was out for medical treatment that day, and so the vote was so tight that it would have ended up being a tie. So then one of the Republicans who was pushing for impeachment flipped to be a no vote so that it wouldn't be a tie, so they'd live to fight another day so they could bring it up again. I guess Congressman Scalise got back, they took the vote, and there goes Alejandro Mayorkas. You are going to hear an argument from the Democrats and the liberals and the squishes that we should not impeach Mayorkas, that this is totally unconstitutional, this is breaking with legal precedent, this is wrong. And you're going to hear it from the squishes because they're going to say, look, yes, the Democrats have impeached President Trump over silly sorts of things, but that was wrong, and we shouldn't be like the Democrats. If we just do the same thing the Democrats do, we're no better than them, and all of this is wrong. All of this is ahistorical. I mentioned that Mayorkas is the second cabinet secretary in history to be impeached. The first one was William Belknap in 1876, I believe it was. He was the Secretary of War, and he was impeached for not only failing to do his job, but also usurping more power than his job would have given him. The reason this is important is that one can be impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors, things like treason and other high crimes and misdemeanors. But there is not just a political basis for impeachment. It's not just that you don't like the cut of the guy's jib, so you're going to throw him out of office. There's a legal threshold that you need to meet as well. The Democrats famously did not meet that in the impeachments of President Trump, where they never even really made an argument that he committed a high crime or misdemeanor. They just didn't like him. So first they tried to impeach him for colluding with the Ukrainians, I guess, even though they'd previously gone after him for colluding with the Russians, allegedly. And then the second time they tried to impeach him because, I don't know, they didn't like what he tweeted on January 6th, the worst day in human history. Totally ridiculous. But in this case, there is precedent, because the reason that Secretary of War William Belknap was impeached in 1876 was for behaving in a manner grossly incompatible with his proper functions and purpose of his office. So in 1876, included among the charges was that he disregarded his duty as Secretary of War. That is a kind of maladministration. And then when the House Judiciary Committee outlined this in 1974, they explicitly said impeachment is proper when an official exceeds the powers of his office, behaves in a manner grossly incompatible with the proper functions and purpose of his office, and employs the purpose of his office for an improper purpose. As the Heritage Foundation has pointed out, Alejandro Mayorkas has done all three of those things. That's according to the proper definition and proper basis of impeachment from the House of Representatives in 1974, which means it was a Democrat House of Representatives at that time. And it's in keeping with the precedent that we had for impeaching cabinet secretaries going back over a century and a half, okay? I think, or just about a century and a half. I think we're good. The impeachment of Mayorkas is justified. Historically, legally, I think you could say persuasively, and politically, because the Democrats do this to us. They did it twice to the last president. Surely we can do it here to Mayorkas. But if Mayorkas is impeached, then this necessarily leads one to conclude that Biden should be impeached as well, because Mayorkas is enforcing the Biden policy. Period. So this is a nice little win for the House. It's not going to go anywhere because the Senate's not going to convict him because we don't have enough Republican senators. Decent enough win in the House. Now they should go on and impeach Joe Biden. Frustrating news out of New York yesterday. I mentioned that we kicked George Santos out of Congress for some reason, and you're going to be shocked to hear it. A Democrat won his seat in liberal New York. Who could have predicted this? Republicans had a razor-thin majority. We kicked out a Republican congressman because he's a weirdo. And he's legitimately a weirdo. He did weird sex stuff and he pretended to be a different ethnicity, and he engaged in all sorts of financial deception and fraud. So he's a total weirdo. My only hesitation at the time from kicking him out is most of the Democrats have done all that stuff too. My only reason that I suggested perhaps we shouldn't kick this guy out is you're talking about weird sex stuff. That's the new threshold. Okay, you're going to have to kick out half of the Democrats in Congress at least. You're saying that now pretending to be a different ethnicity is basis for being expelled. Okay, well, how about we go to the upper chamber and talk to Senator Hiawatha, because she got her whole career on this kind of nonsense. And despite her high cheekbones and her recipe for pow wow chow, it turns out that she's not actually an Indian. So we're going to kick her out too? No, Democrats would never kick her out for that. And then financial deception and fraud? Are you kidding me? We'd have to shut down Washington, D.C. if that were the basis for expelling someone from the nation's capital. So yeah, I think that's all terrible. I think that's really bad. But what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You're going to give up potentially a razor-thin Republican majority for what? To stand on the principles that no one applies? To just unilaterally disarm in a political battle? What are we electing you people for? I thought it was crazy at the time. Also because you were almost guaranteed to get a Democrat to replace him. The libs are going to now say, this is a referendum on Trump, and this is it, and the Republicans are going to lose in 2024 now. I don't know, maybe we'll lose in 2024, but it's not because of this seat. The guy who won was the guy who had the seat previously, Tom Suozzi. Tom Suozzi, I don't know how to properly pronounce, the proper Italian way is Suozzi, but I don't know how this Medigan pronounces it. He had the seat from 2017 to 2023, and then George Santos briefly occupied it, and then the guy took it back. Okay. Doesn't mean very much, I think, for the 2024 cycle, other than that the GOP was extremely stupid to kick Santos out. Because now you can't even impeach the worst DHS secretary in American history, a guy who's opened up the border and encouraged millions and millions of foreigners to invade our country. That's what it means. Good job. Great job, GOP. With Republicans like this, who needs Democrats? Now, speaking of the rhinos, speaking of Republicans screwing things up needlessly, Senator Mitt Romney just took to the Senate floor to explain the most important vote that Republican senators will ever take. Is it on the border? No. Is it on the economy? No. Is it on defending marriage and life? And no. It's on giving money to Ukraine, of course.
Vote we will soon take to provide military weapons for Ukraine is the most important vote we will ever take as United States senators.
You couldn't make it up. And he probably believes that. In Senator Romney's defense, he probably believes that. It's the most important vote ever. The American vassal state in Ukraine, this proxy war with Russia, that has no particularly strategic end in sight other than to kill as many Russians as possible. And if the cost of that is killing as many Ukrainians as possible, so be it. So that we can, expand NATO for some reason. And why are we expanding NATO? Because, I don't know, because we want to have an empire, but we don't want to have an empire, but we want to impose our values, but we don't like our real values. So we just basically want to spread pride flags to all the reaches of the earth. And because, I don't know, that's kind of what we do. So vote to give more money without any strategic end in sight. Or if there is a strategic end, it's one that you won't support. Yeah, most important vote. I believe it. I believe that. This is the definition of the court jester in the kingdom of liberalism. This is court jester conservatism. The kind of person who goes up and he pretends as though he's in opposition to the liberal ruling class. And on some votes, he'll vote in opposition to them. On the votes where it doesn't matter, on the votes where it's not going to count. But then when it really counts, when it really comes down to priority that the liberals care about, his job is to fold. And that's what he's doing. Even if it's not folding, even if he really believes this, his job is to show his true colors then and side with the liberals. This is why it was always so silly when the liberals would defend Liz Cheney. And they'd say, look, Liz Cheney, she's a Republican. She's a conservative. She votes with the conservatives 90+% of the time. You're going to tell me she's a liberal, Michael? She's a conservative. No. She votes with the conservatives when it doesn't matter. She votes with the conservatives when she's the 52nd surplus vote. She votes with the conservatives on issues where her vote's not going to matter because the issue's not going to go anywhere. But on the crucial issues, on the moments when we have to define the leader of the opposition as a traitor to his country and as an insurrectionist, when Nancy Pelosi needs a couple fake Republicans to sit on the January 6th committee, that's when you're going to see her true colors. On the votes that count, that's when you're going to see the true colors. That's when the court jester conservatives come out. What a great clip that was, huh? Come on, you can level with me. It's a good clip. And you can get more good clips if you ring that bell and subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. See you next time.